Welcome to r/nuclear neighbors, where an insane neighbor tries to bleach someone's expensive cat. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to click that subscribe button and also hit the notification bell to not miss any daily uploads. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into the stories. r/ helped me get my neighbor removed from the city. So, I'm not a regular Reddit user. I recently found r/ on YouTube and heard many stories of revenge, pro-revenge, etc. I am a very forgiving person, often taken advantage of, but I let it slide. I have one exception: don't mess with my kids. Quick backstory: my oldest is on the autism spectrum, and when we first moved here 6 years ago, he saw two girls playing next doors with some rocks. He knew he was not allowed to leave the yard, so he ran around our property finding the prettiest rocks he could and threw them at the girls, who ran crying to their mom. I spoke to their mom, who seemed cool, and we resolved the issue peacefully, I thought. Shortly after we moved here, I noticed the neighbor's dog would get out and roam the neighborhood. She was very skittish, so I could never catch her. We live on a busy road, so I was worried and occasionally called animal control to see if they could help her before she got hit. One day, my neighbor's other dog was in our yard. When the kids and I stepped out of the house to go to the car, it snarled and growled. I called the police. It was a Sunday, animal control was closed, and they took care of it. The next day, neighbor storms over to me, screaming at me for costing her a lot of money. She blamed me, my husband, her landlord, for not fixing her fence, and insisted she had very powerful friends who would crush me if I did not leave her alone. She screamed over her loss of thousands of dollars, claiming I cost her daughter her senior pictures.
"You should be more forgiving," she said, "since I should have reported your
R-word
kid."
Don't mess with my kids. Another quick note: it turns out she would let the dogs out when they were in heat and only let them back when they were pregnant. They would sell the puppies and repeat. Animal control did what they could, but they could not do much. Since watching r/, I became quite aware of malicious compliance. I read our city's codes and ordinances until I knew them front to back, and I reported her for everything. Cans on the street at 6:01 p.m. and they are required to be in by 6 p.m? Reported. I can hear you from my property? Reported. I have a massive spreadsheet of times, dates and violations. Meanwhile, she still let her dogs out. They dug up the neighborhood, pooped everywhere and got into our trash. Since the one dog was vicious, I could not let my kids go outside without me. We felt like prisoners in our own home. The dogs would be outside in all kinds of weather: ice storms, 100+ heat, no water, no food, no shelter. Animal control and I became best friends. They desperately wanted the dogs removed. It reached a point where they drove by her house on the way to and from work. They rescued dozens of puppies, sometimes finding them wandering the road. Where I live, there's a limit to how many times you can report someone within a time frame. And if I walked in to report and they knew I couldn't, they would give a shake of their head and I would instead announce I wanted to look at adopting an animal. I've taken in a fabulous sweetie of a cat and a poor abused doggo, but that's not important to the story. My neighbor was furious. Any day I reported them, I would wake up the next day to find something on my property wrong. Car broken into, faucet in the backyard turned on high, the gas in my grill left on, all kinds of stuff. I have tried everything, even getting PETA involved before I knew they were likely to put the dogs down. Eventually, the vicious dog was hit by a car. They immediately got a new dog. I reported them for not licensing it. When I spoke to other neighbors, I let them know what was going on and encouraged them to report them as well. I'm very active in my community and I've gotten to first name basis with many, like the mayor, police chief, etc. There was a sort of academy to get to know your city and I took it, so I met a lot of people and have been volunteering, so they view me in a good light. Well, it's been a couple years and my work is finally paying off. I got a call from a lawyer representing the county. She was bringing everything to the court and wanted me to testify. When she found out I had a spreadsheet, pictures and videos of everything, she nearly squealed with delight. My neighbor is currently being charged with reckless endangerment, being a public nuisance, animal cruelty, child endangerment, disturbing the peace, and I cannot remember what else. The lawyer informed me that they were requesting the following. First, they not be allowed to own any animals ever. Second, the current animals be removed at once. Third, due to the large number of complaints from the neighborhood and due to the varying types of complaints, they are to be deemed a public nuisance and be removed from the county, never allowed to return. Fourth, damages be paid to the neighborhood since we all lost many a flower garden to the dogs, plus all the time we had spent to cleaning the trash and poop up. Fifth, jail time. Now, I confess, I did not know it was possible to be banned from a city, never mind an entire county. It was not my intent. I just wanted those dogs rescued. They did not deserve to be treated like that. You know, that's actually a very good thing that someone got empowered by watching a Reddit video. So that at least shows me that those videos are not at all completely useless. Aside from the obvious entertainment factor, of course. Crazy entitled neighbor tries to bleach my sister's cat, cat gets revenge. This happened many years ago. My older sister had this awful, crappy neighbor who had a serious hard-on for sister's seal point Siamese cat. I will call neighbor CN. For crazy neighbor, sister is sis, me is self-explanatory. CN was a black-haired, plump, 40-something divorcee who annoyed everyone in the neighborhood. She had zero understanding of boundaries and liked to come over to people's homes, barge in and look, snoop around, opening drawers and cabinets and touching their stuff. Once she even went into someone's fridge and grabbed herself a ginger ale, then got mad when the homeowner took it back. If you left your door, front or back, unlocked for more than 10 minutes, chances were she would just come right in. She stole yard decorations from other people's yards and had been caught on more than one occasion pocketing something she had snagged off a mantel or table of a house she had invaded. And she would always throw a tantrum when she got busted. Cops had been called on her many times, but she was good at being pathetic, so most people did not press charges. Unfortunately, this made her bolder. Basically, she was the entitled Karen of the neighborhood. Sis was, unfortunately, one of her favorite victims. She would come over without calling, barge her way in and demand to see Sis' cat, telling Sis how beautiful he was and how much she wanted a cat just like him. Sis, being rather non-confrontational, would let her see the cat, who did not like the woman, then make her leave. CN never wanted to leave and had to basically be pushed out the door. Oh, and she despised me because I would not let her in when I answered the door, nor would I tolerate her BS in any way if she got past my sister. CN was so obsessed with the cat and offered to buy him many times. But my sister loved that cat. He had been the runt of the litter and rejected by his mom. My sister had taken him and bottle-fed him, mothered him and saved his life. He was not a pet, he was her child. So Sis of course always said no. This royally pissed off CN. One day the cat got out, he was not an outdoor cat, so Sis and I immediately started looking for him. We were checking the bushes and behind the flower pots in her backyard when we heard a very distinctive yowl, one of pure rage, followed by a very human shriek of pain, coming from CN's house. Suddenly, the doggy door on CN's back door slams open and outruns my sister's cat, his tail and one rear paw covered in what smelled like hair bleach. I'm allergic to bleach and immediately recognized smell as he passed me, dashing past us and into Sis's house. Next thing you know, CN's back door slams open and out she comes. Cursing up a blue streak, ragged claw marks adorned her left cheek and one of her hands had a deep bite wound that had completely saturated one of the gloves, the kind one gets with any hair coloring kit she was wearing and running down her hand and arm. Turned out, when the cat had gotten out, CN had grabbed him, took him inside, then tried to use hair bleach to bleach the brown out of his tail and paws in order to change his appearance so she could keep him. Unfortunately for her, she did not know anything about Siamese cats and just how violent they can be. They were originally temple guardians for a reason. The moment CN put that bleach on that cat's tail, he went absolutely berserk, letting out that yowl of rage we had heard, clawing up CN's face and sinking his fangs deep into her hand. She pushed herself between the bushes, the ones that looked like tall green paint brush heads Sis used to separate the property line, and began yelling. No, not yelling, shrieking. She shrieked that Sis's cat had wandered into her kitchen while she was cooking, and when she tried to pick him up, he attacked her for no reason. Clearly, this was total BS. CN then proceeded to call Sis the N-word several times, she's half black, and me an effing half-breed wetback SLUT, I'm half Hispanic, we have different dads, and she screamed that my sis was stupid for keeping such a dangerous animal and that my sis would be paying all her medical bills. She then got right in my sister's face, pushed my sister hard in the chest with her uninjured hand, saying she was calling animal control and intended to have that thing put down. CN opened her mouth to say, shriek some more, but my sis, after hearing that last statement and without one word or warning, hauled off and decked her. She landed on her butt in the grass, now clutching her left eye. Sis then loudly suggested CN go screw herself with a hot curling iron, then ran inside to find her poor cat while I called the cops. The whole thing from start to end lasted only about 5 minutes. Sis found him hiding in the laundry room and quickly cleaned him off in the sink. Meanwhile, CN is still on her ass in our backyard, howling like a banshee until the cops arrived. I told them what happened, and they later talked to my sister after she attended to her cat, who gave them the same story I did, even admitting to hitting CN in self-defense, of course. It did not hurt her case that CN had left a bloody handprint on my sister's shirt when she had shoved her. CN, of course, told them something entirely different. Her story was that she was about to bleach her hair when my sister's cat came in and attacked her. She also said, both sister and I attacked her too. I apparently kicked her in the stomach after Sis punched her, but the cops found no evidence of bruising and the scratches on her face kind of masked her swelling eye. I also think cops turned a blind eye, pun intended, to it considering the circumstances, but since there was a clear blood trail leading into CN's open back door, cops felt they had probable cause to go in. I think if CN had been paying more attention, she would have refused them entry. The blood trail led to a sink in the first floor bathroom. Blood, cat fur, a bleach applicator and the box that came in were in the sink and on the floor. The cat's collar was in the garbage. CN kept trying to play the victim, but the cops did not buy it. She got arrested and my sister pressed charges for theft and assault. CN also got nabbed for possession of stolen goods. Cops found a bunch of DVD players and CD players still in their boxes, sitting on her coffee table and in the spare room next to her bathroom. And she had a bunch of prescription drug bottles with other people's names on her kitchen counter, and it turned out she had also been stealing neighbors' painkillers when she had visited them. And since she was a renter, the property owner gave her the boot for breach of contract. She went to jail and had to pay for the cat's vet bill. He was okay, but a bit traumatized and had a yellow patch on his butt, paw and tail for several months. CN's hand got infected from the cat bite, and it turned out it had also caused tendon and nerve damage as well. Moral of the story, stay out of people's houses and have the common sense not to mess with a cat named Lucifer. Guys, how would you have handled the situation if your crazy neighbor would have attempted something similar with your cat? Please tell us in the comments. And unfortunately, this is the last story for today. I hope you enjoyed the content, even though it was a little bit shorter, and I hope you have a fantastic day, and I see you again tomorrow.